Welcome to Everything House Music and More. And today's special guest is a great friend, I can say, of mine. And I've been knowing him for years. Yeah, family, absolutely. We have the legendary K.Alexi Shelby. What up, K?
The crowd go wild. Y'all can't hear him, though. What up, though, baby? What's good?
Hey, man, you know I've been knowing you for so many years, man. So
decades.
I know it's going to be some basic questions. Don't look at me crazy, but we got to let everybody know what's going on, man.
True.
So you ready to get started?
Yeah, let's get it.
Here we go, man. So, Kay, how and when did house music culture find you, and how old were you?
I would say I was like maybe 14.
Okay.
14, maybe even 12. I remember we were playing football out in front of the house. It's now living on Lakeshore Drive.
Okay.
And, take a break from the game, go upstairs.
Right.
And I could hear music coming from the other room. And my boy said, that's my brother in there. Listen to some of that music.
Uh-huh.
Okay, cool. It was disco, though.
Right.
I'm like,
right.
Oh, okay, all right. And I heard Martin Circus.
Oh, wow.
And what a hell of a song
Right.
to introduce you to, because there was so much going on in that song. And I was like, oh, my goodness, man.
So that had to be, what, late 80s?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. No. That was mid-'80s.
Mid-80s.
Yeah.
Okay. That you first got into?
Yeah. And I was like, man, just the whole deal, and it just sucked me in it. But so they was cracking up because I was so young and so excited to hear it. They were like, oh, it's genuine with him. Look at this dude. He straight love it. So then the neighborhood drug dealer, this dude named Dre Dog, he like, man, he thought that was funny. So he like, I'm going to take you someplace.
Right.
I'm like, okay, take another room. Is what some music going to be at, all right? So he said, just be ready tonight.
Okay.
And okay, it's getting late. I ain't know nothing about no party at out someplace. So he came, knocked on the door. He said, man, I said, man, speak to this dude. And he said, man, get your coat. So I snuck back in, act like, all right, man, see you later. Then snuck back out.
Right.
We got in the car, we driving. I'm like, where's we going?
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't in fear of anything because I knew him, big time dude from the neighborhood and shit.
Right.
So, man, we get to the club, and it was crazy. First person I heard out. Yeah, old Ronnie.
Ron Hardy.
Yeah.
So you went to the music box?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and that was, and he was like, man, don't drink nothing, don't touch nothing. And it seemed like when somebody say that to you, you immediately get hungry and thirsty.
Right. So
like,
how old were you at this time?
Had to be about 14 to 12, 14, somewhere up in there.
Wow.
Like I definitely wasn't no old timer dude.
Right. So how'd you get in if you was that young?
With him.
Oh, with him.
Yeah.
So
and that's why when he walked in, and I tried to walk around, they're like, hey. And he said, he with me. And I don't look at him, and then they just let it go. I'm like, oh, okay, it's like that.
So you was a shorty up
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you
I'm standing with him.
Right.
And
so what records at that time popped out to you when you went to the music box?
Clouds. Yeah, because he did this thing. Like he was a showman.
Right.
That's what made him so great. First of all, all the lights went off, and strobes was just going. And then a rain sound effect. Right. And the next thing you know, you hear clouds. Like, I didn't know that record didn't sound like that because the rain went on forever. You really thought it was going to rain this. And then oh, my goodness. I was like, what's about to happen? You just amazed at that point.
Wow.
And then when it came in, you know the record.
Right.
Wow. Everybody scream, I scream too. Yeah. You want to make sure you about to do the right thing.
Right. Man, so y'all stayed there all night or?
What seemed like all night to me.
Right.
But as I got old, I kept going and going and going. I remember going and leaving there and going straight to school and falling asleep in school.
Wow.
I was like, man, this is crazy. That's back when before was Square Pegs and all that stuff before MTV. That was before MTV, right?
MTV.
Yeah. So man, and dressed like that and everything. Right. So it was dressing punk, but was still house to us.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. I was about to ask you that.
Yeah, man.
I was like, so what did being house mean to you?
It's the culture, same as it is now. That's why, and the whole deal about you had to be gay to be in the culture is quite insulting.
Right.
Because there are many of us who are not gay. Shout out to my gay people, big friends, family members type people, and who are gay, but that got nothing to do with us who certainly were not, but still push the culture. That's kind of like the whole separation between the city people and the suburban people.
Right.
I'm like, a whole lot of hits came from suburban people still to this day. But I'm like I had moved from, at that point, moved from the city to out here in the burbs. And I'm like, people were still getting it in. I got to meet, all y'all and everything, came to the party, did what I do, like everybody else do, got y'all mixed up. I said, that dude look Hawaiian. That must be hula.
Right. As it's still ongoing to this day.
Yeah. And I remember coming back to school telling everybody, I met these dudes, man, because we had heard about y'all. I met them, man. It was down the dirty basement, as it was back then. Not all cleaned up and everything, but down in the dirty basement getting it.
That's right. So, Kay, I have to ask you this too, because you almost, I ain't say almost, you got to be one of the pioneers too that came up in this, man. So,
man,
how did house music get its name, or where did house come from?
I don't know it as that. I know it as a feeling, because I can only associate it with church, because when that feeling come on, it's like when people in the church say the Holy Ghost,
right?
Like when you hear that song, you make them, because you ain't speaking tongues, what maybe some do, but you make them faces, like it literally make your face smash all up. You're like, ooh.
Right.
You hear something like Hit and Run, which is still one of my all-time classics. Anything Lolita, though.
Right.
But all those songs, it just made you, oh my goodness. And a good DJ helped that, which is like a good preacher.
Right.
So, yeah, man, to me, it's the culture, the feeling.
So do you think, like, okay, so I have to take it back, because some of the episodes, Wayne Williams said house music came from people playing the disco music in the homes, and that's where the term house music came from. Some people say it came from the warehouse with Frankie. They shortened it because the disco music was playing in there, and then that's where this is where they play the house music.
I don't believe it became house music until we started making it.
Okay.
Because disco is disco.
Right.
But once we thinking, and I heard Jesse, and out of arrogance, I'm like, shit, if he did this, I know I can get down.
Right.
And let me do this then. And then by being as blessed to have Lee, right. Mr. Lee as his cousin.
Mr. Lee, right.
Yeah. So once he was done, I was like, we were close like brothers.
Right.
So I was doing everything he was doing. So thank God he went into that. And wasn't no going back, because you just like because we was already making tracks and stuff, and then so that you can bring to the club, and did it for the vanity, still for the girls, and then before you know it, you was really in something, because women was like, oh, you made this track, not you just playing it, but you made this. That brought you a whole other notoriety.
Right. So speaking about that, let's go back. You and Mr. Lee. It was Risque 3, correct?
No. We were a Risque Rhythm team.
Risque Rhythm team.
Yeah, okay. Risque Rhythm team.
So take us through that process. What happened?
Oh man, we once we figured we had a deal with actually Vince Lawrence's father, Mitch Ball Records, and he gave us a record deal, but we ain't had no records. He said, y'all got some music? We lied. I said, yeah. Came back to the house that night and made the whole EP in that night.
Wow.
All 4 songs in one night. So I'm like, I've been doing this.
Yeah.
Fast like that. So it's funny, and it's like the Jackin' Zone only was made because the Twilight Zone at that moment came on TV. We were taking a break. Mm-hmm. And then I'm always clowning. So I mimicked the voice, Rod Sterling voice, except I was saying the Jackin' Zone. And Lee was like, oh my God, that's so dope. He said, we should do that. I'm like, man, we can't say exactly what he said. He said, no, you're going to switch it up a bit.
Right.
Okay, cool. So I wrote down what he was saying and everything and switched it up, and then we did it. And then the more we was doing it, was sounding real good. I was like,
right. So what was the name? That was a EP you did?
Yeah.
What was the name of that EP?
I believe the EP is 122 House, which was another one of the songs. It was the Jackin' Zone, 122 House, 2 other songs. Risque something.
Right.
I don't remember, like all
now,
the songs.
Now, what year was this
then.
now?
Man, I don't know. Maybe 90... Maybe 80, 89.
Yeah, it had to be early.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm thinking like, say about 88.
Yeah, but we did all that stuff, and but so many, we were already making music, but once we got the chance to put something on record, because we were like just making it on cassette, and we didn't, nobody was thinking records then.
So were you spinning at that time?
Yes.
Okay,
you were spinning first. Okay. And matter of fact, one of the records that really helped me, just a light switch came on during the party, and I love Divine, I was playing Native Love. That's one of my all-time favorites too.
Okay.
But I was playing Jungle Jezebel. And it never clicked on how stupid those lyrics were.
Right.
And once it just seemed to irritate me the more I let it play. And I'm like, because I was sitting like, oh, hell no, I could have made this.
Right.
Like, you could say this and it's on the record. I didn't realize a lot of records I played. I'm like, man, they ain't really saying nothing. I could do this. It's not really that hard. I'm like, all records. So I was like, okay, cool. And in my mind, they were like, well, you could do better. Do it then. Right. And I was mumbling to people, and they were like, do it then. I was like, I will then.
So what was your first paid DJ gig?
Yeah, doing it for family for so long and all that shit. You ain't know nothing about no money for a while.
Yeah.
So I don't know, paid.
It's been a long time. That's why.
Yeah, man.
All right, so we'll get back to that.
Yeah, please.
So what Chicago DJ had the most influence on you?
Ron Hardy.
Ron Hardy.
Yeah,
okay.
Without a doubt, Ron first.
Okay, all right.
Because I tell you all the time, I said, he played my stuff so much that people thought it was him.
Yeah.
You know, once I got up the courage to come up to him, like, man, he playing people shit. Play my shit too and shit. I had my looks. You know, once you figured out what Jack was,
yeah.
Then you're like, I'm gonna go make some Jack, I'm gonna make some tracks.
Right.
Some tracks. Yeah, I'll make these tracks. And then once I figured like this good enough, you know, you heard some stuff, then okay, cool. I just took it to him. I said, here, play this. And they was laughing because they like, this little dude is like Andy Cassette, like, man. But he played it though.
Right.
And it was my little sister who had to be like, yeah, she was like 3 at the time. Yeah, little Vicky. And she was saying, Dak, 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 Dak. And I said, Dak? Jack, you had to say Jack. Oh, man, my mama heard me yelling at my little sister. Get my baby. My baby not saying nothing else. And I was like, fine, this is going to have to do.
Right.
And I was embarrassed, gave him the tape. And I said, he going to say this ain't right. But when the crowd heard that, Dak, 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 they went crazy and shit. So I was like, okay then, all right.
Oh, my goodness.
All right.
All right, so speaking of Jack, Wayne Williams, one of the founders of the house music scene.
Dr. Derelict.
Right, saying that he came up and said Jack before anybody else. So I need your opinion about that.
I don't know that. I wasn't in that room. I don't know that conversation.
Okay.
I don't know who said it first, but I was happy they ain't say no whole bunch of shit because that Digitech pedal could only hold so much back then.
Right.
So,
well, that's good. So
yeah.
Okay, cool. So you were part of Risque 3. Tell us about how that came to be.
Part of Risque. I was part of Risque Rhythm Team.
Risque.
What made Risque 3 was the fact that Lee had changed the name of Risque Rhythm Team to Mr. Lee and Company.
Oh.
And when I saw that paperwork, I'm like, I literally said, who the fuck is Company?
Right.
I said, it's a group. And he said, we can still be the group. He said, but I think you need to go off on your own.
Oh, wow.
And that's how I was.
Okay.
First I was hurt. I was like, oh, this motherfucker ain't got big headed. We getting some traction now. You want to be Mr. Lee and Company.
Right.
But he didn't mean it like that. He meant that because he had a vision. He like, I'm going to be on Soul Train. Right. And the way he was saying, I realized he was serious. And I'm like, I don't be on no damn Soul Train. Like he was going to that kind of stuff. And I was going to the boxing, you know, the raids and all that kind of stuff. And them type of music, eventually, they never going to meet.
Right.
If you playing one, unless you some wedding DJ or you on the radio, and it's still stations were defined back then. This is what's house.
Right.
We ain't do house light. We ain't do almost house, but not quite.
Yeah.
We didn't do that kind of shit. Like it was defined, you knew what it was. This was before Europeans stuck all them damn tags on it. Yeah. Oh, this is Euro house. Oh, this is this, that. It's just house, man. Calm down.
So with Mr. Lee and everybody at the time, what was the name of the label that you guys was on?
Mitch Ball Records.
It was Mitch Ball. It was definitely Mitch Ball.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Did our first record release party.
Oh wow.
Yeah, at the Taste.
Oh wow.
63rd and Low. That's another place I wasn't old enough to be in, but I'm in there. Man, had my little shorty with me and everything. Everybody in there was older than me.
Right.
My girlfriend at the time was older than me.
Wow. So when you separated from Mr. Lee,
and you which was a good thing,
right? What label was that?
That was Stride Records, and how that came about was really because I didn't really get like he was technical with it. So if he wasn't around, I didn't really know how to hook up the equipment right. So I just had to go with whatever. If he left the room, I just went with whatever he had pulled up and then made something like that.
Right.
But I would do the bass line to Don't You Know all the time. Like that's really all I like when you just repetitive. Just I would play when it's my turn. That's what I'm gonna play.
Right.
And he was like, "Hey man, don't play that no more." I was like, "Oh, now you hating on my song." He said, "Put that out put that on record.
Right.
I was like, well, I will then. He's like, yeah.
Don't you know?
Yeah. Then I said, I started researching, looking around for record labels.
Right.
I didn't want to be on Mitchell Ball because I just did not anymore. I wanted my own thing. If we doing like this, then I'm separating for real.
Right.
I'm taking Risque name with me though, because that's my name. Okay, you can't take the same name. Okay, I'm gonna do Risque 3 then.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I said Risque 3 before I even had 2 other people. I just knew I liked the safety of the group. Right. That was my last time thinking that though.
Okay. So let's go back to there. So was there a group of Risque 3? Mm-hmm. Okay, let's say
now when you say group, in a group, everybody doing something.
Right.
But my group mentality is more like people like Michael Jackson and Prince. Right. Like, let's get it clear. I'm Prince and you Wendy and Lisa. Like I ain't make and you can ask them. You can ask either one of them, but I made I got it in.
So who was part of Risque 3?
Me, Rob McKay, and Bambi.
Bambi.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a throwback.
And but it was then you remember then. Like we wasn't like, oh, she was so talented, she was just so fine. And we was like, oh my goodness, I'm making her in the group. Right. Very Prince back then. Yeah. Think minded was I.
So first record y'all did?
Was Don't You Know and the Tropic Zone. Tropic Zone. Which was some other stuff that I did, the original copies and was floating around. Right. But I wasn't used to being in a real studio still. Yeah. By myself especially. Yeah. And Rob didn't know. Right. And so got to the studio and all those tracks and the engineer put them out for me. And then so I'm seeing 48 tracks. I'm seeing the board that looked like something out of a spaceship. And I'm like used to something it's like this, condensed. Right. And I'm thinking, do I have to put stuff on all these tracks? And he's like, no, what you got is what you got. Or, whatever. I was like, oh my God. Once again, got to studio. I was so nervous. Didn't know or remember how to work the sequencer. Right. So I had to play the bass line, Don't You Know, which I was telling people in my post about that's why I get jazzy at the end. Yeah. Because I got so bored of playing the same thing over and over again. You're like, I'm tired. I'm gonna get, do something. Right. So that's why I got jazzy. And Don't You Know has my brother. That's that baby voice. I love that effect. I just discovered it. And that's my brother. Really? That's not me. Oh, okay. That's my real brother. And what happened was, how that even happened, I was on the phone bragging about going to the studio the next day. Girls love blinking lights and all that shit. So I'm like, yeah, baby, I'm going to the studio in the morning. So I can't really be on the phone with you all night. Right. Landline, all still connected. And my brother's just behind me talking so much shit. And I'm like, man, shut the fuck up. And she, who is that? It's my brother. I said, come on, man. Right. And then I hang up the phone. I said, that's it. You want to run your mouth so much. Take him to the studio tomorrow. And you're like, oh, okay. He thought he was playing. I really took him to the studio. Right. And I said, get in the booth. And he was say, I said, just run your mouth, say all that shit you was talking. And then he was all nervous. Right. And then once he heard the effect on his voice, that's what got him loosened up to really just run off at the mouth and just was talking. And then we was doing this, which means keep talking. Keep talking. Yeah, yeah. Right, so he just kept on talking, rambling, some of the stuff repetitive, but yeah, that's how that came about. People think that's me, but that's not.
Now, after that, was Essence of a Dream on the Risque 3?
Yeah, that was on Stride Records too.
That was on Stride Records too. Okay.
And that came like we got really with that because Larry Heard, Fingers Inc. was on that label. Yeah. But right when we got on there, they left. Right. I was like, motherfucker, this was the whole point of getting here. Right. But then I'm like, this is a challenge. Now you got to carry the label. And I'm like, all right, that's what's up. So we did Essence of a Dream. And it was cool because that was another one of them songs that almost didn't get done. They thought it was gonna be instrumental. Yeah. But I was writing the lyrics that night before the studio. And for me, even now, lyrics have to make sense. Right. Like you have to tell the story. And you have to tell it within 5-6 minutes, quick. Yeah. So you got beginning, middle, end. That's how I write the song. It has to make sense. You tell the story, bam, or you leave a cliffhanger. Right. So whatever. But I tell the whole story. For me, it had to make sense. Finish. But I was writing, and the lyrics were literally giving me a headache. Like I was so stressed over it, and I was about to give up the song. I was like, screw this. And right when I was about to do that, the phone rang, and it was Lee. And Lee called, and he was like, hey, what you doing? We shoot shit. And he's like, I was happy to answer phones for anybody. Right. So I was like, hey, what you doing? I said, oh, man, I was just shooting for shit, man, writing this song. I said, fuck that song. He said, and then we kept talking. I said, all right, man. He said, what you about to do now? I said, about to go to bed. He said, nah. He said, you finished the song? I said, no, fuck that song, man. He said, no.
Right.
Do not go to bed without finishing that song. I said, yeah. First I was saying, yeah. I was
like, you about to do it anyway.
I'm about to say, fuck that song. I'm going to bed.
Right.
The lyrics fine. And then I reread the song, and then the lyrics they weren't making sense. And I went over the song again.
Okay.
And I finally got it to make sense. And I'm like, okay, cool. Hell yeah. I was like, oh my goodness. I just focused on the girl.
Right.
And I said, this ain't her. I said, well, this is how you want her to be.
Yeah.
Write that down. Write how you want her to be.
Right.
And so I wrote the song. Oh, man. And then when I got to the studio, I was all happy. We got the music done. And then they were like, okay, that's studio time for the day. It's a wrap. I was like, no. I got lyrics on this song. I'm like, no, okay, you're going to have to come back and do them. No. I have to do lyrics on this song. Okay, you out of time.
Right.
You out of time. I said, come on, man. Please, I got to do lyrics on the song. He said, if you do it, you're going to get it right in one take. Say that. I'm in the booth.
Right.
Get in the booth. Put my little pad up. Read it right quick. Go over my nose. Cool. Deep breath. Go. And I say the words. And as I'm saying it, I'm kind of like, I can't tell from their reaction if
what's
it
happening.
sucks.
Yeah.
Because they just standing there.
Right.
2 engineers and Rob. And they standing there with their mouth open. And I'm like, oh, this must suck ass.
Right.
Fuck it, let me finish saying and get through it. So at least it's on there and shit. We'll fix it in the mix, as they always say.
Right.
And I finish it. And then, like, they didn't even, the call button and shit, which is, that's what you talk to the,
back.
yeah. It was still on.
Right.
Because in part of the song, in the reverb, you could hear the phone ring in there with it.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like people don't notice it, but I notice it because I can hear it. Just like my ad libs is saying other stuff. I know what I'm saying, but, people just don't know. And the girl who I did it about, she knows and shit. So it's funny with all that. But okay, cool. I finally get it done. Fine, cool. Go out there. What they gonna say about it now? And they were like, that was amazing. I was like, oh, what a relief.
Right. And that was a huge record at the time, man.
Boy, wasn't nobody did nothing like that.
That is true.
Everybody jumped on it after that.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you this. Do you think if that record that you just did, Essence of a Dream, was like on Tracks or DJ and Nash, you think it would have got more press?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But it took thanks to people like Farley, because he would play it no matter what. And he wouldn't just mix it. He would play it, Jack Master, big boy. He would play it from beginning to end. Like once I went down, because we were, once we got started getting busted, I guess you couldn't have little kids in the class. So we would all just be young. So we were walking in a big ass circle on Rush Street.
Right.
You couldn't get anywhere. So that's like our little club on the street, doing a big ass circle on Rush Street, walking back and forth. And then so I go to the radio station, I'm gonna see Farley.
Yeah.
Go on the radio station to see him, see he playing my record. And as soon as he saw me, he said, "My man," and stop. It was like we was at, because he would come to the crib all the time.
Yeah.
It was like we was at the crib. He said, "My man," stopped his whole mix, shook my hand and stuff, went through his box, and he ain't have it right away in the front. He said, "Man, it's usually that's what he said. It's usually in the front," which means that he must have played it already.
Right.
But he went, found the record again, wipe it off, like we at his house.
Yeah.
I'm talking this dead silence, which is a no-no on the radio station.
Right.
Like he ain't wait to have another record play. He stopped everything and played the record.
And that was
from
WBMX.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, man.
Wow.
And when it came on, I didn't realize that everybody heard it, because on Rush Street, everybody driving back and forth. They got on the same station. So it's like a gigantic radio and everybody could hear it. Man, when I went to school the next day after that, everybody like,
oh. How old were you at this time?
Yeah, last year, so 18.
18.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's like, man, everybody was, the girl was there. She was embarrassed because they found out he did about her. And they were, ooh, he did talk about you. He said it. That's funny because there's a line in the song that talks about golden showers. I just knew golden showers sound cool. I didn't know what it was.
So you know what it was?
I didn't know. No, as a kid, I didn't. But I didn't know my worth back then and shit. I just knew. Like I would study lyrics, but I didn't really know what it was. I went for what sounded good. I would list lyricists. I would list the people like Prince and Marvin Gaye and Michael and everything. All these people, how they say some amazing stuff.
Right.
And the Ivy Brothers, like I want to write like they write this. Oh my goodness. And so in writing that song, it was like really like a personal thing. It was an open love letter to her about how I wanted her to be.
Okay.
Like, so still not her. And it's funny. So I did the record, went to school, everybody's going crazy and everything. Like literally going crazy. And I went to her house and it was different because her dad plays horn for Phil Collins.
Okay.
Like that's him playing on Studio and all that stuff.
Oh, really?
It was it was wild. And he was so like it was like a whole big switch. Like he had loved me for making music. Oh man. But her mama must have really listened to the words because she wasn't having it. She looked at me like, this motherfucker.
Right, like you can't come back here no more.
Right. You said what?
So after all that, Kate, did you ever do business with Trax Records?
Yeah, well, what happened was I helped Lee get the deal.
Okay.
Because Lee, man, made so much music that never made it, so much like underground music that never made it to wax. Like we just had cassette stuff. But I called Trax, and I think it was Jesse and Wayne down there.
Right.
Might have even been Vince.
Okay.
But I called, and they put me on speakerphone. You hear me, this little kid. I want a record deal.
Right.
And they said, all right, you want a record deal? Come down. And I didn't know them at the time. So they're like, come down here tomorrow with your cassette and stuff. I'm like, cool.
Right.
But I didn't know that Lee had already called them too. That's what he said. I said I got his record deal. He said he got it. I was like, okay. Right. Anyway, I talked to them on the phone, and so that gave us the end for the next.
Right.
Next
so
day.
what was the first single on Trax with you guys?
See, that was him. That wasn't me. Like that's when I think he did.
Was that I can't forget? Yep.
I can't forget.
Yeah.
I can't forget was mild compared to all the stuff he did because one of our people was Jimmy Principal.
Yeah.
Who all of us lived in the same building back then.
Right.
Like Jamie lived in the building. A bunch of would become models and stuff lived in the building, and Rob, R. Kelly lived in the building. Right. All of us lived in Twin Towers back then.
Wow.
And they put like all the single people in one tower and all the people with kids on the other tower. So our tower was like the Love Boat. The other one.
That I Can't Forget was pretty huge for Trax.
Oh, huge. Yeah. And but it was. I think that was one of the ones beginning of commercial house.
Yeah.
Like, cause you could play that on the radio just regular.
Absolutely.
And you can still play it right now, and people
go off on that.
Yeah, man.
So how did your relationship with DJ International start and when? And then why them?
Proximity.
Okay.
It was only two back then who you can go to, either Trax or DJ National.
Right.
And I didn't want to be at that time because me and Lee, with our separation, I'm gonna do my own thing and shit. So went to DJ National, and I already had Don't You Know and Tropic Zone and all that stuff, right. And that stuff dream under my belt. So by the time I went to Trax, by the time I went to DJ National, that was me making a bunch of other stuff. But Fast Eddie was huge because hip house was booming up.
Yeah, it's getting up.
And so the way things worked back then is that they made you do hip house. I never would have done it.
Right.
I'm like, I'm not from this old candy ass shit, man. I'm even rapping on my music. I say sexy shit. I don't want to do all this. Right. I'm about the sexy. I ain't about the bull.
So what was your first record on DJ International?
I did so many after that and shit. I really was it Don't You Want It?
I think it was.
Yeah, okay, Don't You Want It. Crazy story. Like, so I brought these girls with me, which I had some girls with me. I brought these girls with me to the studio. And I told them, just go in there. What you want to do? I said, and I'm all raw with it. I just want you to do whatever. Just moan, talk some shit. And they didn't know each other, so they was in the boat. And they was all looking at each other. One girl, she chewing the shit out some gum. That's real gum chewing in the beginning. And they was all just looking at each other, all lesbo style and shit, which was funny as hell. And but one of the girls, she was gothic. And that was before anybody really knew what that was. Right. They thought this girl a witch. And so she was I'm gonna write these graphs on the board.
Right.
To bring this song luck.
Uh-oh.
So I'm like, yeah, cool, whatever, baby, do it. Because I'm boning both of them. I'm happy to say, yeah, let's let her go wild. Do whatever. That's my little witch over there. And so she wrote the hieroglyphics shit all over the board.
Right.
It was cool. We did the song. The song was great. Left the studio. They called me and said, yo, come get this shit off the board. Nobody else want to go in there, bro. Nobody want to go in that room until you come get this shit off the board.
They didn't want to
touch
it.
They ain't want to touch nothing.
Wow.
And she said, that's probably for the best.
Yeah.
And she's scaring them. And I like, man, they like, can't hang with them people.
So how long did you stay on DJ International?
Yeah, not long at all.
Okay.
It's funny shit. Rocky just called me yesterday.
Wow. Okay, so let's go there. So you was a resident at the new warehouse, right? On Randolph.
Yeah.
What was that experience like?
I tell you what, that's something else. They gave it to me to shut me up, and they gave it to me to fail.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Like, I knew.
That's how you get the spot. They just wanted you to set you up.
Yeah,
right?
dude. But by the time I got to the meeting was over.
Right.
Mike and all them got up, and I said, hey, what's happening, man? The meeting. I said, where's my night? And everybody laughed and walked out.
Right.
And Rocky was still sitting there because he knew he about to hear my motherfucking mouth and shit. You give all the best nights away. He said, K, before you get started, we got some nights left. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I said, what nights you got? He said, Wednesday, I think Monday and Sunday.
Yeah.
And I said, at first in my mind, I was like, this is some bullshit. This is bullshit, but don't go off, K. Don't go off. Pick a night still.
Right.
Out of spite, I'm going to pick a night. And I said Sunday. And right after I said Sunday, I immediately regretted it because I'm like, what the fuck you say Sunday for? Don't nothing happen here on no Sunday night. But I wouldn't take it back.
Right.
I would not take it back out of defiance.
And you had the freedom to play anything you wanted that night?
Absolutely. Okay. That was part of my deal.
Okay.
Because the money wasn't right. Right. Like, well, I want to do it my way.
Okay.
Oh, man. Oh, my goodness.
Walk us through that, man.
So Mike Dunn, big bro Mike Dunn had Saturdays. Bad Boy Bill, Julian, and everybody else, Spanish people had Fridays.
Right.
And
that's the Latino.
Yeah. And I'm trying to think. Okay, that's Friday. Yeah, that's Friday. And that's all we had at first.
Right.
Was Friday and Saturday, and then my bullshit Sunday.
When did Joe was spinning there too, though, right?
Not yet. Joe was just the owner.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, Joe was just the owner. And I knew Joe from DJ National. Right. So we was boys already.
Okay.
We ain't become like family yet.
So it was you, Mike, and then
Julian and them, that whole crew, the whole Spanish crew on Fridays.
Right.
And then so my night came and I built it up because my night was, it's getting ready to be everything under the sun. My night was about the journey. That's not to say nothing about day night, but if I can nod my head to it, I'm playing it.
Right.
I'm like, yeah, they ain't playing that. Okay, I'm playing this too.
Yeah.
Play that. I had my boy Eric Franklin.
Okay.
Oh, Eric will open for me because somebody had to. And I would make my entrance, which was funny as hell because I always a showman. Long black coat on, some glasses, some dark ass glasses I could barely see. Mm-hmm. And I had my record boxes and my CD case. Okay. I would show up at about 12 o'clock and do from 12 to like 4. Yeah, wow. From 12 to 4.
You don't do that much no more, huh?
Man, I would bang. Bang their ass. You hear me? I would bang, bang, bang.
And it became a popular night, too.
It became the most popular night.
But then, tell us what happened after that when it became popular, brother.
Well, I see you heard some remnants already. Well, that was the manager at the time.
Okay, who was the manager?
JJ Espinoza.
Okay.
Rest his soul, my dude. But whispering had begun. And so people started whispering like, man, we should try to get in on K night.
Right.
Because at the end of my night, still packed.
Right.
Still packed like during peak time, like nothing ever happened. The security would be mad as hell because I would be like, I'll play my last record to bring them back down to a calm level to leave.
Right.
But it's still packed in there. And they wouldn't leave without that last record. That became a thing with me. Like certain things I would do that other people wasn't doing. Like I would do my medleys. And that became such a big deal that I had to do them. Like first I just did them on my own just to fuck with them. But after that, I had to do it. I had to do Michael Jackson medley. I had to do Stevie Wonder medley. And I think Diana Ross.
Okay.
And then I added Prince. Like those people right there became a must do. And I had it. We had like what we call karaoke moments. I had to play songs that they know. I could turn the music down and the crowd would just go crazy. Right. Yeah. Like, and one of the main culprits was All I Do.
Okay.
Hey, dude, man, play that song, boy, and the crowd just going crazy. And then by being on Sunday, they would call me Reverend K. And then we turned Sunday nights into Sunday service. It became like a huge deal.
Before everybody else did it, huh?
Man.
Okay.
Man.
Okay. So go ahead and speak about they trying to get you out of there now. Or not get you out.
No, they did. You irritate me. We wanna come in the kitchen and now you wanna stick your spoon in and shit. I cooked this already.
Right.
This is my kitchen. What is you doing?
So who came to you? You said
like they came with me saying I need some help. So which means they must have been whispering already. So JJ came and said, I think we're gonna put, he had it said Emmanuel.
Okay.
Emmanuel Pittman.
Okay.
And then he said Hugo, and I'm like, the fuck? I said, dude, what is you? I don't need. And then he really tried to force my hand.
Okay.
And I think even Mike came on Sunday sometimes too, and she's not like, why is everybody on my shit saying I need some help? Do it look like I need some help?
Right.
Man.
So did you ever spend on any of the weekends or any other nights there?
No.
Okay.
No, because what happened was I was doing that, and then I'm working for Trax after that too.
Okay.
Was I working for Trax then? No, I don't think I was working for Trax until after the warehouse. Okay, I wasn't working for Trax then, but I was doing other stuff.
Okay.
And it was so funny because like I made more money off cassettes than I ever did off my fee.
Wow.
Like it was just crazy.
So what year was this at this time, okay?
Early to mid 90s.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm thinking like I had these drug dealers that would come buy the cassettes.
Right.
And I knew I would get their money. All I had to do was play Anything Jamie.
Oh wow.
And then and even though they had it on the cassette from the previous week, no matter how many times I played it, they definitely came and had to go. Like, oh, this finna be a quick $50.
Yeah.
This finna be a quick 50, boy, right here. Yeah, right. Yeah. So I play so anything I can play Jamie, I'm like, I'm finna get this money. And I'm gonna act like I don't want to give it to him.
Right.
And it became such a big deal. I had to get like 6 tape decks that record at the same time and all that.
Oh, wow.
And, oh man.
Up at you had that at the warehouse at that time.
Yeah. And then my one pitch deck so I can just play it because I had really started editing.
Right.
Then and that's another thing. You had to make myself stand out, to make myself different. I would edit all week, and I would make sure I'm editing stuff that I'm thinking I had never heard. I had never heard edit before, and I'm gonna do stuff in it that I had never heard before and things like that. And so, just like I said, anything to try to set myself.
Yeah. So that Sunday night just started getting even bigger,
Dude.
right? So who was on the line?
Sunday service.
Give us the lineup at that time, okay?
They would mix it up.
Okay.
Just started, doing shit. Oh, but then like I was going out the country by that time. Right. I was, because I remember that's why I stopped caring.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what, man? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
You'll never be though.
Right.
Because I had dedicated people that came to see me, like that stayed to the end for me. Like they ain't come because it's Sunday night, motherfucker. You thought just they came just for this. I'm like, no, just like when you go on Mike night, like people definitely came for him.
Yeah.
So it was like they came for him, not for the club, not for that, because Mike created that experience.
Right.
Still to this day, like I learned that from him.
Yeah.
But it's funny though, because then they came up with, okay, we're gonna open up on Thursdays.
Okay.
I'm like, wow. So they gave that to DJ Cowboy, rest his soul.
Okay.
Gave it to him. And then people was getting mad because Cowboy would come down there on our nights and just start picking choosing, playing the same shit we playing. Like, hey man, stop that bullshit. Stop, create your own night and shit. But, so he would play that kind of stuff. And then the shit got so big that people would call the radio station like, man, can play some of that warehouse shit.
Yeah.
And then we were like, what's that? And then so that's you start hearing things that we were playing at the club back on the radio. And I'm like, we made them bend to our will.
You spun with Ron Hardy, correct?
Two of my favorite, I'll keep it as brief as possible. Two of my favorite DJ stories is that I can remember right now.
Okay.
Is my first time playing with Ron Hardy at the Hyde Park Racquetball Club.
What year was this?
I don't remember, bro.
This got to be in the 80s. Though.
Yeah, it had to be. And he would call me Little Man all the time.
Okay. And
so I'm playing, and I was playing. I never forget this. I was playing right before he got on. I was playing Curtis Mayfield. What is my woman for?
Okay.
And if you don't know it, go look it up. It's a beautiful song. It is just it's just pure record.
Right.
So I was playing that, and he said, "What you know about that, little man?" I was like, "What you know about that, old fella?" So me and him would go back and forth, just like me and Frankie. That was big brother Frankie Knuckles. I would call him Big Frank.
Right.
So he'd be like, call his house, and they'd be like, "Who is it on the phone?" He said, "Somebody called you Big Frank." And he'd be like, "Oh, give me the phone. That's K." So he knew it was me.
Right.
Second DJ experience. I'm gonna try to. How can I cut this short? Okay. I went to school with this dude Jamal Holloway, who used to lie so much. I mean, if you was standing outside in this rain, he would swear up and down it was sunny. That's how much this dude lied. So he said, "Man, K, I need you to come do a party at my house." But he was always used to. I said, "I'm gonna do this party. I'm gonna do this party," because he would lie. I remember I don't know if he remembered, but he lied and said Lolita Holloway was his mama.
Oh my goodness.
Because his name Holloway. I'm like, okay, I'm fine to catch this dude. Yeah, I do the party. Do the party. If the party was going well, I forget all about the lie he told. So I closed the party out with Hit and Run, which is, everybody knows me. I'm gonna let that sucker ride.
Right.
And I'm playing my edit, and I'm going all crazy, risk going, working the EQ, the crossover, and do the party. That was my last record. I'm sweating and stuff. All right, good night, everybody. They leave this big mansion that was in Markham. Mm-hmm. And so the night come, packing my stuff up, and I could hear somebody coming down the stairs. Right. And I'll be goddamn if it ain't Lolita Holloway.
Get out of here.
Dude, Lolita, that was his mom the whole time.
Wow.
She says, oh my God, you had the children down here going up.
Oh my goodness.
And now she got a robe on. I just got my mouth open, bro. I can't believe it.
Wow.
Like he really wasn't lying.
Yeah.
This really is Lolita Holloway.
Yeah.
And I'm just standing there and she talks, she said, you had the children going. She said, mom was upstairs dancing, said, but they wasn't ready for me to come down here with my robe on.
Right,
and I was I'm just in awe because I loved her so much.
Yeah.
And then so she said, how you getting home, sugar? And I said, I don't know how it costs. She said, no, where you stay at? I was like, Hazel Crest. She said, I'm going to drive you.
Right.
And I was like, oh my goodness, Lolita Holloway going to drive me home.
Wow, that's classic.
That was one of my, man. And years later, I seen her at the Winter Music Company and she remembered me.
Wow.
She said, of course I remember, darling. Give me a hug.
That's
man, we
hugged.
like,
man, I wish we got a record with her before then, man. Rest in peace.
Yeah, man. Rest in peace. Oh, man. Yeah, man, she was such.
So, okay, take us to some. What do you think about some? So you've been the underground champion for a while, man. Do you think house belong in the mainstream?
Why we got to do what we've been doing,
right?
And do it so that they like it. Why they just can't like it the way we've been doing it?
Right.
Why you got to add your spin on it? If what you're doing is so great, then call it something else.
Yeah.
That's my whole deal. Like, if somebody say, pass me the syrup to put on my pancakes, and you're like, oh, you just want something to put on it, so they pass you some ketchup. Like, that's not what I want. Sure, I could put ketchup on my pancakes, and hell, somebody probably does out there, but it's just, sorry, something's in my eye. So it's just nuts.
Yeah.
That, and it's like, what's in a name?
Yeah.
I say everything is in a name.
Right.
My name is K. If you start calling me Tony, I'm gonna be mad as hell and not talking to you because that's not my name.
Right.
I'm like, that's what's in a name. And we built this.
Yeah.
Like we built this for real, and now here you come with an opinion.
Right.
And not really an opinion to make it better. You worked on a way to try to fit yourself in.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so I'm like...
So let me ask you another question. How did you connect with Acid House?
It's funny as hell, too. Okay, me, you, Hula Mahone, Hot Hands Hula, all of us lived together.
Yeah, that was back in the 80s.
Yeah. And so Hula knew Pierre.
DJ Pierre.
From Future.
Right.
And so he brought the song over to the house. Now, it was kind of late, and I wasn't worried about that part, but the fact dude came in my house, we lived together, but it's still my shit. And he came in the house, didn't say nothing to me, which is no and shit. Right. And I'm like, man, it was this dude, man. Y'all better tell this dude, man. And he didn't speak to me. So then he played the song, and I was like, yeah, it's all right. And I admitted this years later, a decade later now, on a radio station, I said, man, on the inside, I was like, that song is fire. Yeah. And it was. Still to this day, for me, that's the definition. Songs like that is the definition of minimal house.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's a 303, and it's the...
And that's not the only song Pierre did, I Got the Bug.
Yeah.
That closet too that night.
Man.
A different night. So
yeah, and then that's with Closet Studios, literally. But that was the raw essence,
right?
Like when I see people on social media with gigantic studios and shit, I'm like, yo, you sad? Where's your video at? Where's the song you made with all of that shit?
Right.
I'm like, we made legendary songs that still to this day with only two things,
right?
You know, and that's what I got into it with Roland about the equipment people and shit. Roland,
right.
I said we put y'all on the map.
Yeah,
I said people ask us what we used to make this track, what we used to make that track. I said we used 808, the 909, and 303, the 7. I said that whole family. We told people what we used, and then other people went and used that same thing.
Right.
So
you witnessed the history of house for about 40 years, man.
Man,
what would you have done differently to benefit it? Looking back.
I would have insisted upon not calling it anything else but house.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I remember when Steve got the nomination, Steve Hurley.
Yeah.
Big up to Steve. But Steve was like Lee.
Yeah.
Like they was in the commercialization of the whole thing.
Right.
Like we was down and dirty and they wanted to polish it off.
Yeah.
I'm like, why we going to them?
Yeah.
Like they ain't gonna like it. That's bullshit. They loving it.
I think it's polishing it, but it's also a little progress, I should say. You know, I mean, but I think everything has its place.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying?
There you go. I mean, listen, I said it's all about branding, which we were not aware of. We didn't realize our power. We didn't know our reach.
Right.
We didn't know Europe was going crazy for our stuff the way they were. We didn't know that. And by the time, you know, the whole acid revolution came about, God bless them, London held on to it because we had let things like that go because of hip hop. Right. By the time hip hop came,
right,
they had videos and the jury and all that shit.
Yeah.
That goes back to us doing it for the women and all of that. Yeah. Oh shit, you get way more sex if you doing that. That's sexy music.
It is.
It's, man, okay. Look at them, how they dressing up. But they was, man, Kwame and all them, that was house. They dressing like us.
Yeah, that was all the polka dots.
Yes,
that wasn't
all
that
of
was
that
house.
was us.
Yeah.
The whole hairstyle, all of that. Right. So to see that and other people claim it, but once hip hop was loving house too, but to screw that up, the coming together on a broader scale of hip hop and house, they start saying, "Oh, that's that gay shit."
Yeah.
To throw the stigma on it, like you was gay to mess with that.
Right.
So okay, cool. So now.
Speaking of that, man, let me interject this. You know, it was last week was the Grammys. I put up a post. I know people was just going crazy about it. It was when Beyonce won for the best dance electronic album of the year. And at the end, she says the queer community invented this genre. What are your thoughts on that?
My thoughts is, since you won a Grammy with her already, why y'all ain't never had no conversation so that she wouldn't have said nothing dumb like that? Because she just mimicking, she just puppeting what she heard. That's her surroundings telling her things like that.
Okay.
And plus, she had to say that for what happened in Dubai.
Okay.
Like she went, like when she went and did Dubai for $26 million, I believe.
Right.
And I don't give a damn if you gay or whatever. Stop acting like you wouldn't have got no damn $26 million.
No, I'm not saying that because of that. Because I mean,
no, I'm saying that
she knows about house.
Yeah, but I'm saying that. Hold on, but I'm saying that that's why she had to make up to them,
right?
By saying that, like on a world stage,
okay,
because they was at her neck for doing that concert and stuff,
right?
And I'm like, man, so when I wasn't surprised that she said that, but I'm like, this goes to show why we still calling house music anything other than that.
Okay.
Like dance music, like anything. There's music that you could dance to could be considered dance music. Yeah. This ain't.
Right.
Why y'all? If anything is not rock and roll, you ain't calling it rock and roll if it ain't.
Right.
So why everything else gets its place in this? But we know why.
Yeah. And I made that point because I'm just saying people don't understand how much we always have to fight from being from Chicago and telling our story. And that's why I do this, man, so people can be like, they can come back to this and be like, well, this person did this person did that. This is where this turn came from. So it's just like, I don't like when people's like, why we always living in the past? But you don't say that when hip-hop pioneers and say, we got to keep this culture together. This is where hip-hop started, etc., jazz, blues, whatever you do. But for us, it's just like, a lot of people say we're old and cranky, and we better.
Hold it. Let me address that right there.
All right.
The whole bitterness thing. So much has been taken from this city.
Absolutely.
Like so fucking much. The moment you admit that,
right,
we'll be all right.
Yeah.
Because when you say shit like Detroit invented techno,
right,
like we weren't doing techno.
Right.
Like, okay, what's acid tracks from Future if it's not techno? What's Circus Bell from Robert and Monty if it's not techno? What's a lot of things out there if not techno?
Right.
Like Mama Dusa, techno.
Right.
I'm like, so when you say things like like Detroit techno. Like we ain't the mecca of all of that shit. Like we ain't dude. Yeah. You can lie you want to. Records got dates on them though.
Right.
And plus the parties, we know what we played. We know what we did, what we were at, and everything.
Yeah.
Now you got some people that lie, so that's why thank goodness records got dates on them.
Yeah.
There's plenty of people that got their name on shit that just did not. Right. They're just not. And the more and more I hear about that, the more and more if it's the word, I wouldn't even call myself bitter. It's just that I work very hard, always have, to do what I do in the sound like me. To have somebody who didn't do shit on the same stage as me.
Right.
I'm like, where they do that at? But, it's a lot. They do that a lot of places around the world. Do that at, a lot of shit been stolen from us as a culture, inside the culture.
Absolutely.
So, I shouldn't be surprised, but I'm not going to swallow that. I'm never going to go along. I'm never going to, just go with the flow. Dead fish and turds go with the flow.
That's kind of deep right there,
Ken. Yeah.
All right. So you known in our scene for keeping it 100 all the time. Leonard Roy, he always talks about there's no pension for DJs. Is he right?
That is, man. I remember a sad text I got just last night of one of our brethren needed some help with his medical.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing. Yet and still, so many people like us have sampled this dude and everything and shit. God rest his soul, Paul Johnson should have been, but a lot of that falls on us. But you think back and you think of your big homies who were in this before you.
Yeah,
I don't ever remember having no conversation about publishing or ownership with none of them.
Right, yeah.
None of them. I'm like, why are you talking about you the king? You ain't you what? Okay, you the king. All right. What type of king are you?
Yeah.
What type of king are you then? Did you take care of your people? What people can look and say, man, that dude took care of me. He taught me about this, the ins and outs of the business.
Right.
Like this is the music business.
Right.
It ain't we ain't just the music no more. Like a lot of shit was just stolen.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was doing records with Stride Records and they cut me some checks. I didn't know that was my money they was giving me. I thought, oh shit, it is man.
Right.
Thanks.
That's what they already owe you.
Yeah, I'm not knowing that's my money you give me. I'm talking about damn thanks.
Yeah.
So, once that happens, which is why I take the time to people younger, or not just people that's just not knowing, try to educate them on get your paperwork together.
Yeah.
So much has been stolen. I'm in a battle right now with Trax Records.
Yeah.
I'm in a battle right now with everybody who I ever did a record for. Like, because I am an entertainer, a musician through and through. Like, I live, sleep, breathe this.
Yeah.
And so I would do it even if did nobody care about it. Thank God for Bandcamp, push it up on there, and it's just me and the people per se. Need your own website for it to be you and the people.
Yeah.
I know they get to taking cuts out and everything,
exactly.
But that's a whole other story. So it's just a matter of being closer to the people. Like I want that, and flattery is cool for people sample you because I've sampled people, so I don't really mind that as much. First of all, tell people where you got it from,
right?
And if you can pay it, I don't want somebody rich sampling my shit and just giving me the big thanks,
right? Yeah,
I can write that, cut that check,
like you do everybody else.
Yeah. I've had a lot of people. Or you know what, looking back on it, maybe the check was cut. It didn't come to me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of that going on.
Right.
So, like I said, in a battle right now with tracks, and a lot of people, when I go check my publishing, a lot of people put their name on my shit, and it's just like, then when we in public and I go off on them due to my whole disdain when I see them just period. Like, so maybe you're right. All shit gonna happen when it's supposed to happen. That's what I see to that. I'm not from that world.
Yeah.
Well, there is no consequences. This new world is full of consequences. People do shit, and it's just no consequences. I sample some shit in my day. I sample some shit right now, but I won't sample none of my boys' shit and be like, yeah, look what I did, and be all proud about it and shit. There's a pecking order to this shit, and there's a decorum.
Right.
But the shit now is just the wild, wild west. Yeah. Somebody sample your shit and be like, look what I did. You ain't mention me at all, motherfucker. That's my shit. You ain't, man. You ain't, and you didn't do nothing to it. That's my whole thing too. Like you go on all these record company sites, and people they got so bold and so lazy with it. They ain't edit the track.
Right.
They ran a kick up under it, if that, and called it this.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, what part did you do?
Right.
The whole trickery with sampling is to switch it up to add that,
I think that's the issue that a lot of people have, man, because with all these programs come out, anybody can do it now. They lay a track underneath a disco track or something like that.
Yeah.
And sometimes, now, mind you, sometimes it's nice, but then sometimes you'd be like, where is the creativity in that?
I'm always like that.
Or either sample a little piece and then loop it and make another song from it and do something.
Show me the art of it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Show me you within this.
Right.
Like all I'm hearing is them. Where's you at?
Yeah. So I believe that's one. Yeah. I understand. So let me ask you another thing. Name the first 5 house commercial releases. No, all right, let me pause right there. Let me stop that right there. I ain't gonna do that one. Let's do this. Name me your all-time top 5 house records.
Distant Planet, Fingers Inc.
Okay.
Me being a vocalist and quote unquote house purist.
Right.
That's one of them. I would say Acid Tracks.
Future.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
I would say Devotion.
Oh yeah, 10 City.
Man, I would definitely say Devotion.
Yes.
I would say we talking old or new?
Anything you want to, brother.
Okay. Brighter Days, Dajé.
Yes.
Bad Boys, Jamie Principle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's flip this now. Name me one record you wish you would have done that you've been like, oh man, I wish I had part of that record right there.
Shit. All of those that I just named, man. You know, it's funny, like a lot of them records I was around.
Right.
Like I was there for that.
Yeah.
Like so it's funny. But let me see a record. I tell you one, French Kiss.
Okay.
French Kiss, Club Lonely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, any of those.
That's dope.
Yeah. Oh man.
So another question. House music through EDM has become a multi-billion-dollar industry. Do you think we as pioneers should have a seat at that table?
Absolutely.
Why?
Because how are you? Because this is how the story goes. If you don't tell your story, somebody else gonna tell it for you.
Yes, sir.
And we talking about people that has rewrote history so much so that you don't see us at all.
There you go.
Like this, it's like how they teach you in school about slavery and black people.
Right.
You're like, our history began with slavery. That's bullshit. Our history was interrupted by slavery, just like this. Our whole thing, like, oh man, it's so broader than that.
I think I hear what you're saying. I mean, it's almost like, because we can say almost house and hip hop came up together.
Well, house was first though.
Well, absolutely.
Yeah.
But it came up through the rankings.
No,
first.
Absolutely, because it's young black people disenfranchised doing something.
But the problem is about our culture. People don't want to keep it and hold it and speak to it dearly. And it's just like people always, like you said before.
No, that's not true. Some do, some don't.
Some do, some don't. Right.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying.
But those are people who really got stake in the game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I ain't never gonna bend like that.
Right. No, I'm with you. I'm 100% with you.
Yeah. No, I've had them conversations, but there are people that, like Lee, like that don't mean he wasn't house. It was just that he saw that his vision was mainstream with it.
Right.
So I mean, and
I don't think there's a problem with that. Because it's a lane for everything.
Absolutely.
Everybody can make money out of it. It's just my problem is they always disrespect Chicago.
Absolutely.
You know.
But we've been robbed. That takes me back to that. Many people have robbed and pillaged.
Yes.
Like you came through here and you didn't cut the check for motherfuckers. So when we see you and you come again, of course our guard is up.
Yeah.
Look what you've done.
Exactly.
Look what you've done. Look what you haven't done.
Right.
You up there getting your Grammy. That Punk, you mentioned Grammys. You did a whole record.
Right.
A whole record. Teachers.
Right.
You ain't where the homage at.
Right.
Now Thomas supposed to be coming back out.
Right.
Where the homage at?
Yeah.
You did them remixes. Where the homage at? Why one of your teachers didn't do no remix?
Right. Yeah.
Like we talking about people that helped your career. Who knows where it would have been had you not came to the Mecca.
Yeah.
This is like one of my favorite movies of all time is Cadillac Records.
Yeah.
It's just one of those ones
it's
for
real
me.
Too. It's
yeah,
real.
And that's Chicago. That's Chess Records and talk about how, people came through here. Rolling Stones came through, raping, pillaging too, and shit, learning stats. But I'm like, man, and like now they're saying where they got it from and everything like that and shit. But it wasn't so much that back then.
Yeah, I just like I say, I love my city, man, and I try to uphold it and do as much as I can for it.
I'm constantly representing.
And it's just like, it's enough that I'm tired of people just not saying that and getting that story right. So the reason why I'm doing this is making sure that everybody get their story out and their perspective of what house music is and where it came from.
Well, opinions, stories, like assholes, everybody got one. If you're not gonna fact check some shit, then you need
but
to
you can't fact check everybody, because if
certain lies have been told and you know damn well.
Now I'm just saying, if that person is doing something or doing an interview, if they say something like they was there at this time, some people can fact check that, some people can't, but you're always getting it from their perspective.
Listen, some parts of what happened back then are a little fuzzy. I will admit that. I like, how long it's been since then.
Yeah.
Like, it's certain things that just
right.
Like, I wasn't no regular at the power plant.
Yeah.
I've been there one time.
Right.
And every time back then, I wasn't always getting in. I didn't always have Dre with me.
Right.
And because you can attest to this, because we couldn't get in everywhere, that's how, but the ball bounced in a different way. That's how we discovered this gay club, Club Luray.
Yeah.
That would let us in no matter what.
Right.
So we went there and we discovered Mikey Zabuku.
Right.
And we discovered a real sound system, because the sound was ridiculous in there. And with a little something that we didn't know nothing about, the drag culture and all of that. We was see them do the little show before, and then the party would come on after that. And I remember all of us, it's so funny, remember Little Rascals and shit now, looking back on it. We standing up against the wall because we don't know nothing. We don't know nothing about the gay culture. We just like, hey, watch out. So we gonna stand up against us so they don't look at us. And just enjoy the music.
Yeah, and then they was playing our stuff too. So that's a good thing about that too.
Yeah.
So, brother, I appreciate you doing this, man. It's been a ball, man.
No worries.
We can go on forever. Yeah. But everybody, thank you for tuning in. Everything I Love House Music and more. Make sure you
hold on. One more question while we got Maurice on here.
Yes.
Your iconic record, I Got a Big Dick.
Really, man? Really?
I know you can edit this part out if you want to, but on the original version,
yes,
that more convincing version, whose voice was that?
Oh, that was your voice, yeah.
Oh, okay.
But you remember how this all came about while we was all living together, right?
I do, indeed.
Right. And then, the certain king of house tried to take that record from us and do everything. But you wasn't around at the time when we was doing the vocals anyway, so.
I was.
So what happened?
Don't tell the story like that. Tell the truth.
Okay.
Let's get the truth out there right now.
All right. Let's go.
What happened was,
okay,
the record wasn't here. We played at the party. Everybody went crazy for it. We got up in the morning to do the record at the studio the next day. When I woke up, y'all was coming back from the studio. So
oh yeah, that's right.
I was around.
All right, so no,
you just snuck and did it without me.
No, we didn't sneak and do it without you. You know why you was in the room. We're not gonna go there because there's a whole story about that too. We said, "K, we going to the studio." Me and Hula did tell you that, but you was a little busy, right? So there you go.
I'm about to love, baby. I'm about to love. Your man, about to love.
My man, K.Alexi Shelby. Hey, man, once again, hey, y'all, hit the button, subscribe, and then hit the notification button.
Absolutely.
K, I love you, brother. Thank you for doing this, man. I really appreciate it. I know we can go on for hours, man, but I just want to make sure.
It's a whole lot we didn't say, but I'm like, man, catch y'all next time for that.
I just want to make people, they heard your story, brother. That's all I want to make sure.
Y'all heard a snippet.
Just a snippet.
It's a long story.
K gonna have some stuff coming out himself, but
oh yeah.
This is Everything House Music More, y'all. Love y'all. Peace out.